and welcome to A Cup of Conversation on BRT TV. My name is John Ghazi, I'm your host in the studios in Lefkosha, and this week I have an old friend coming back to visit us once again. It's been many years since I interviewed a man of many talents, but mainly a photographer for many, many years, many decades. His name is Hasan Hüseyin, and he has a great story to tell, so I'd like to introduce him to you right now on the show. First of all, Hasan, welcome back to the programme.
Thank you for having me here.
We both can't remember how many years it's been since we were last here.
Over 5 years, I think.
Over 5 years.
Maybe 10, I'm not too sure.
Because you've been back on the island permanently for 3 years,
Absolutely.
and I haven't seen you since you've been back permanently, so it's been over 3 at least.
While.
Yeah. So, Hasan, let's start from the beginning. Well, when I met you first, you were actually known to us via your partnership in a very, very important restaurant in the heart of Lefkosha, Sabor, because you and your sister and her husband are together with Sabor Restaurant, which is right behind the mosque in the centre of the old town. So you are a very entrepreneurial family, business-oriented family.
Well, basically, I mean, I put systems together, basically. I mean, when I lived in Istanbul as well, I had a production company. Again, I got the systems together, and I get the right people to work for it and do business like that. I don't really like to do the every day-to-day type of work stuff, but just put my mind and my capabilities into one thing and to make it successful. It's not about the money either, you know, it's about just making it work, you know, and if I could also help in a way, help my family and help people around them, why not, you know, it keeps me happy as well.
Whatever makes you happy in life.
Yeah, well,
it's too short, isn't it?
Yeah, it's too short. I mean, listen, like I said, we can't remember when I was here last time, you know. Next
we
time
don't need to remember.
With the little stick.
Yeah, doesn't matter. We don't need to remember how many years it's been. It's the fact is that you're here now, and I'm very grateful that you've made time today to come to visit us here at BRTK. Your family is Turkish Cypriot, is that right?
That's right, yeah.
Where were you born?
We were born near Larnaca, basically. My mum comes from Aytotoro. My dad comes from Alaminyo, and basically we left just before the war in 1972. We went to London. We spent most of our lives there. I mean, all our education was there. And then I left from there and went to Istanbul and started venturing around doing my photography. But we started to come back here, I think around 15, 20 years ago. I mean, I was coming and going anyway when I was in Istanbul. And my sister wanted to come back here with her husband and kids, and they wanted to just chill out over here, but I had different ideas for them, obviously. Yeah. So, yeah, it's when Sabor began. So, yeah, it's been going quite well ever since.
Yes, I know. Congratulations on the 15th anniversary of Sabor not so long ago.
Yes.
And that's in fact why, or how we made this program happen today, because one of my friends, Neva Charlar, she is a regular at Sabor, good friends with your sister, and she actually introduced me to you all those years ago as well. And Neva said, oh, I'm here at the restaurant, 15th anniversary, and Hasan's here as well.
I mean, the best thing with it, I think, is obviously the social side of it, when you get to meet a lot of people and a lot of old friends that we hadn't seen for years, and making obviously new friends from there. And that's what's nice about having that type of business. I mean, people shouldn't just go into thinking, oh, it's easy. It's not. It's very, very hard dealing with people. But we get to see a lot of people that we don't normally get to see. I mean, if you are just doing some other business. So it's nice in that sense.
When you were here last on the program, you were very active as a photographer, and you told me off air before we started the interview that you have 30 years experience.
That's right.
In photography?
That's right. I mean, I actually started as a hobby when I was 14.
Right.
And I started my professional life around 25 years old, and I'm 57 now, basically. So I said 30 years, that's enough. So, I mean, I think I should be doing some other things. I mean, people should be trying to enjoy their lives as well, not just work. I mean, I do love working, but I like to do different things. So even though I do love photography, that was enough, I think, you know. So I like to do some other stuff just while we're still living, you know.
Hasan, it's quite interesting because a lot of people now are into photography, especially social media. We've got so many platforms where we can share photographs. Everyone is now expert photographer.
Yeah.
We have our smartphones, which takes
Instagram photographers all over the world. I'm
yeah, we've got
afraid,
lots of photographers. But you started, when you were 14, many years ago. What was your interest back then? I mean, we had.
Well, I mean, my dad used to have a lot of old black and white photographs that I used to like, from the old videos. I suppose when we went to London, maybe it was that nostalgic thing, looking at the old black and white pictures. So I started to get interested in photography. I used to draw since I was 4 years old, so I was into art anyway. And so I got myself a second-hand camera, and I started to take pictures. And I liked it a lot. I liked to be on the street and shooting this and shooting that. And then, but I used to love maths as well. I was a maths fanatic. So I had to make up my mind in the end whether I should go towards the maths or towards the arts.
Yeah.
And I chose to go towards the arts. And like I said, I did love the camera, and we started with old analog stuff, just doing my own black and white printing at home and everything like that. And so you had to really know photography. You had to get to really understand what a camera does, what a film does, what the developing does, what the light does. When I was assisting a lot of photographers, I got to understand all their techniques and everything, and added my own stuff to it as well. So it's very tough to become successful as a photographer in those days. I mean, well, now as well, but you really had to know your stuff, so there's no messing about with, I'll just see if it's come out and I'll do another test. No, you got to know it, and the finished product will be sent to the client, when the films were tabbed, at the end of the day.
And in those days, with analog, I mean, you had to develop it and see how your photograph came out. You had a darkroom, obviously.
Yeah, you don't have a second chance, basically.
You had no second chances. I mean, it's not like now where, don't like it, next, again.
Absolutely. I mean, when we do shoot, the client is just standing behind you like this, looking, let's do another one. Let's have it like this. Let's have it like that. They're never happy.
No.
So, like I said, I had a production company. I used to have the whole setup ready. And the best way to keep them happy is just to feed them. Start off with breakfast, and then fruit, and then lunch, and then afternoon tea,
If they're fed and happy, then they won't.
They're happy.
They won't bother you too much.
If they had a hard day, they're going to give you a hard day. You can usually see in their face, Oh no, here we go.
But I mean, I can't imagine now what the younger generation, the Generation X of this millennia, are thinking about the past, because how could they not see the photograph they've taken instantly and share it instantly?
And they lose interest anyway after 5 minutes. They took it, they look good, that's it. I go to a lot of universities for some seminars and stuff, and I always ask this question to them, because they're always going in about so many pixels and so many millions of, this has come out, the new camera. And I say to them, all right, there's 200-300 of you here. I said, how many of you in the last year, let's just say, how many thousands of pictures have you taken? And I say to one of them, has anyone taken 1,000 or 10,000? They'll go up, yeah, I take 10,000, 20,000. So I said, how many of you have actually blown one up and put one on your wall? Everyone goes silent. Nobody does. What they do is what they see on the screen. I mean, even 1 pixels. See what I'm saying? Instead of going for the 50 million, 100 million pixels, this is your normal camera, your little camera is sufficient for you.
Exactly. If you're not going to blow it up and use it for something important, then
1.2 megapixel.
What are you going to do with it? Exactly. Or stay on social media, on Instagram.
Well, they just want to look good, basically. It's all this ego thing, They want to show their friends that they want to look good to their friends and their family, or to someone else, whatever, And it's a bit sad, really, because they're actually destroying that nice thing about photography. You used to take the pictures and wait for it to come out, and sometimes you used to give it to the lab and get it a week later, and the exciting thing of I wonder what it's like.
Your holiday snaps.
Delete, shoot another one, delete, and 5 minutes later they're forgotten anyway.
That's right. That's a very good point you're making there, Hasan. So how did you go from being in London and doing your studies to going to Istanbul? How did you end up in Istanbul, Hasan?
Well, I love traveling anyway. I always used to get my rucksack, travel through Europe. I used to do things like that when I was a student as well. So I started as a professional in London, and it was at the time just when there were problems with the Middle East. They were just starting, actually, and there was a big crisis going on in London. So at the same time, I was going to Istanbul for holidays, and at one time I brought my portfolio to Istanbul, and there was the textile sector just beginning to grow in Turkey, and the fashion world hadn't revived, hadn't just come up yet. So when I brought my portfolio, they said, "Oh wow, why don't you take some pictures for us and everything?" So I said, "Oh, all right, I can get more and more experience when I come here." And at the same time, as I was saying, because London was in a bit of a decline, they had a bit of a crisis, so I spent more and more time in Istanbul. So I decided I'll stay, and that's how it started, really.
So you did fashion photography?
Yeah, fashion advertising, yeah.
And advertising. And so did you get to meet, were you on the shootings of other catalogs or runway or?
Basically, I mean, in Istanbul, I worked for almost every single company going. I did all the top brands for fashion because I had a company as well, like it's a production company. We used to do a lot of work for sort of advertising agencies, and so we did a lot of advertising shoots, big sets and everything. And so I did, as we say, the white goods, like fridges and stuff like companies for TV stuff, for singers, all sorts of things, and it was good fun, because like I said, Turkey was rising and it was getting very, very popular, and the fashion industry was getting bigger and bigger, so I was getting so much work. I had to set up the company and start working with 15 photographers I had in my company. So I was giving them work as well as doing work myself. And
wow.
So I basically got to work with almost every client going.
Amazing, a great success story in Istanbul for you.
It was fun. I mean,
you were at the right place at the right time.
It was, yeah, and very, very hard going on the brain though, because you meet all types of people, whether you like it or not. If someone's going to give you a job, you have to meet. Yeah, they're going to spend their money basically, and they want work done. And a lot of them didn't understand a thing about advertising. A lot of them were good at it. Some of them, you work with so many amateurs as well. So you have to be very, very patient with people, because they want something done their own way, which they were used to, or their wife said to them that, or their husband said to them, "I want it this way," so they wanted it that way. And say to them, "No, this is not the way it's done, but this is the way it's done." So you have to deal with a lot of people who don't understand the situation. So it makes it very, very hard to work with amateurs.
It is very difficult, but I think you were there at a time when advertising and photography was on the rise.
Yeah, exactly. It was just starting, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no fashion industry, so I grew up with the fashion industry there. So it was good fun.
Good experience.
Yeah, definitely.
And I know last time you were here, we showed a couple of photographs where you were taking pictures of models at around the old Lefkoşa area, in fact, or near where the restaurant is.
Yeah, every year, 2 or 3 times actually. I used to bring clients down to Lefkoşa, or around the Karpaz area. So give them a bit of taste of Cyprus. Obviously now a lot of people from Turkey coming to Cyprus, but in those days they didn't know Cyprus that much.
Yeah.
So it was good fun bringing them down, and give them a bit of taste of Cyprus. Yeah.
What's your favourite side of photography, Hasan? I mean, there's so many things that you can take. Taking white goods is a bit, monotonous probably.
Yeah, I mean, there will have to be people in there. I mean, I didn't do still life, at the end of it, just shoot a fridge on its own. So there's always people.
The model there.
Yeah. Well, or it's, some fat guy with glasses, it doesn't really matter.
Somebody's there with the...
Yeah, you got to talk to them, at the end of the day. I mean, I did love the fashion side of it, at first. And then I got bored with that, so I went heavily into advertising to deal with more normal people. And you get to deal with the everyday people and just people like you and me, basically. And so you get to see that side of it instead of the high society. And after that, I went more into production, actually running the company to do work for clients as a total thing. So I did different aspects of photography. But I did enjoy, obviously, the fashion side mostly, up to a certain point.
Unfortunately, you said to me, as I said before, that you have stopped doing all this now, officially. You're sort of like semi-retired.
Yeah.
Although if you do get a few jobs...
I still get certain clients that still want me to shoot.
Yeah, then you don't say no.
If the conditions are right, it's not about the money, again, like I said, because it's going to take 3 or 4 of my days going there, shooting it and everything. By the time you have to meet the client, discuss it. So I see if it's worth it, and then I go and do it. I mean, last week I had a job as well for an old client, and it went really, really well. I do some certain projects here as well, sometimes for certain people that want, like a university or something like that. So I help them out. So it just keeps me alive with photography, you know.
If you had the choice, now that you don't have to do it for work, what would you like to take? In Cyprus, do you enjoy the light conditions, although we've had very bad weather at the moment for the past 6 months.
6 months,
but, you know,
rain. The rain is beautiful as well, depends.
True.
The thing is, I've never actually, I've shot every single job that I've had. I've never cancelled one in 30 years.
Really?
Even if it rained, it snowed, whatever, I've always had backups because I always have plan B and C ready. I have camera sets ready. I have extra assistants just in case one dies along the way.
Oh my God.
I'm just joking on that one, but
you've got plan A, B, C.
Because you have to. I mean, this is why clients give you work, really, because you finish the job, like I said. And once they give me that job, I will finish that job that day.
Rain or shine.
Yes.
But what's your preferred subject? Is it people? Is it places? Is it events? Is it, like you say, maybe advertising?
I enjoy a challenge, actually. I like solving problems.
Really?
Yeah, especially in photography, you do have a lot of complicated things all in one go. I used to love doing it. Nowadays there's Photoshop, so people just putting things together now. It's easier now, but those days you really had to know your stuff and just get it together. So I used to get a special project. For instance, you have to have bring a camel to the North Pole, for instance.
Yeah.
I had to put the production together. I had to do it. Not with Photoshop, but the real thing.
The real thing, oh my God.
So that's what was exciting, just in that tempo, putting it together.
But I think sometimes technology spoils it for us, doesn't it? Photoshopping is a bit of a cheat. And
I don't do Photoshop.
Yeah.
You know, I just won't put my hand to it. I think there's people at it that are much, much better at it than me, so I won't do that. I think people should do what they're good at anyway, especially if they're doing it for money.
Yeah.
And, obviously, they should try everything for fun. But there's other people that can do Photoshop, who are professional at it and they know exactly what they're doing. I give the job to them. I don't want to do their job.
Exactly. Everyone does their job properly.
I'm a photographer. I'm not a retoucher, you know, at the end of the day.
I was going to say to you, would you even hold courses or teach others? But I heard, again, just before we started the interview, that you've been given the chance to do some part-time lecturing at a university here.
Yeah, I mean, it's people who are basically running these places, they're friends of mine as well. And they asked me, would I be interested in doing it? They would really love if I got there. And so I thought, I just do it just for once. I said to them, I can't do a routine thing because I do a lot of other stuff as well. So I can't just give up, you know, 1 week of every week, 1 month of my time just to do this thing. So I said, okay, I'll just do it for a short course, just for this once. It's fun, but the students, you know, I thought they were at a higher level, but they're not. So I still have to go right back and try and go down to the roots.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind actually helping people who are at a very high professional level and get them to actually help them to go on stage in the sense of making money. You know?
Right.
Because these guys, these students, basically, they still don't know what they want to do with their lives, you know. And it's really going back to not square one, but square two, you know. So I would have preferred if it was people who really know their business, and I can really help them to make money, to really get into the field of photography.
Do you think there is still the chance to make money in this business? Are we still...
There's always a chance to make money, but you have to basically look out where you are or where you want to be. I mean, having said that, I always say to these young people, if you want to do fashion photography, you can't do it in Cyprus. Don't be a fashion photographer and live in Cyprus. You've got to go somewhere else, you know. Go to London, go to Paris, even the Far East now, you know, there's a trend there. But if you want to do wedding photography, you can stay here. Everyone's getting married here, you know. Or there's other things like birth photography. They can try that. But apart from that, they're just, obviously they're doing photographs just for themselves and for some exhibition or some competition. But that's all they're going to get to. So, I mean, I said to them, if you want to think at a professional level, you've got to think in a wider scope, some other country.
So after photography, I know that you have a great business mind, and as we said before, you're part of the inspiration for Sabor with your family, with your sister, like we said at the beginning of the interview. And the old Lefkosha area now, I recently went there after a long break. It's amazing, Lefkosha.
Yes,
the old Arab Ahmed, Arasta.
Year or two, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been saying for 10, 15 years now, invest here, invest here, invest here. In the last 2, 3 years, it's been picking up now, and there's some very nice cafes and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that it's actually got more character than the Greek side. And, you know, because we used to cross over to the other side to have a coffee and everything like that. Now, so many little cafes with their own characters, and it's great to see.
It is great to see.
A lot of young people actually trying to do things.
Although you foresaw this again, because Sabor has been there for 15 years.
Yes.
And this influx of cafes and restaurants and little shops or whatever, only the past couple of years, really, that it's been growing like that.
You have to inject into people slowly, and I think Cypriots are a little bit afraid to make a move, especially the middle-aged and older people. They don't like change. And so, and they won't be helping the young people to do things. So the young people, and they don't have any money. So this is why things take so much time. I think the government should actually help young people, give them a certain amount of money or whatever for the projects, instead of giving all these millions to big companies, which has been happening, I think. You've got to give it to the young people and let them do things, let them try, you know, at least. You know, give them a chance, help with their rates, their rent or whatever, and just do this. But having said that, at the same time, I think inside the old centre now, there should be a little bit more control about what is opening up and what is not opening up, you know, because they should have certain areas for certain things.
Yeah.
Maybe it's early days, I should say this, but it shouldn't be too late where a certain person has opened up a certain business and is affecting other people's business in that sense. You see what I'm trying to say? They should do town planning, and there's no planning.
Unfortunately.
They're just letting people just open up whatever they want.
But there should be some sort of strategy, a plan.
Absolutely. If someone wants to open up a cafe, a bar, or whatever they want to open up, they should actually say, okay, in this area there should be this, in these areas there should be these things. You can't just have to do anything and everything and then have problems later. Oh, well, you know, we'll check it out later, see what happens, because it disturb everybody. Now they're planning to have a lot of, obviously, boutique hotels. They're all popping up like anything now. And you have all these boutique hotels that are opening up, but next to them, there's loud music playing until 3 in the morning.
Which is not good.
So who are you going to help? Who are you helping? You're going to have tourists coming in, trying to sleep, and they're going to be putting down bad notes to the boutique hotels, saying
no good reviews for you.
Well, there you go, see. That's going to be one of the biggest problems. Lighting in the streets, parking, you know.
The good thing is that the old quarters of Lefkosha are coming alive again, because at one point it was very deserted.
Yes.
Not a lot going on there, but now there is some sort of, you know, emphasis on trying to revive, maybe support people who are trying to invest in this area. I know that you have as well.
Yeah.
And are you involved? You said with some restoration work.
Well, I do my own stuff because that's my hobby. I mean, I've actually been doing this for about 15 years. I was doing it in Istanbul. Excuse me. And I enjoy just having a vision of the place in its finished state.
Yeah.
And I enjoy physically putting it together myself.
You're a good handyman.
Absolutely.
You know what? You've got a good eye for beauty, obviously. You know what you want. You know what looks good or what's appropriate.
I see the finished result in my head. I mean, this is what I did in photography as well. I mean, the client wanted, obviously, a certain something or an image. I have it in my head, and then I put it together. It's not like, oh, I'll try this, I'll put another light, see what happens, I'll test it, I'll show it. No, I know what I want. I've got it here, and I put it exactly how I want it, and I know exactly where the lights are going to go. So the finished result is in my head. It's the same with this restoration. I know what I want. It's just, but the fun of it is putting it together, see? So I knock it down to the brickwork, I take off everything from the floor, doors, windows, everything, and I put it back together the way I like. That's what I enjoy. Physically, I do it myself. I do the marble. I can do the plastering. I can.
Wow.
I can put the doors in. You know, tiling.
So you don't mind
call me though for your house.
A great guy to have around, a great friend to have, just in case something needs to be done.
Do plumbing, you know.
No, don't say this. Don't say this. You'll get calls. Hasan, we've got a problem with the plumbing here. Can you come down? But it's good that you have that sort of like knowledge and hands-on and that freedom to be able to do what you want.
Yeah.
Because when you have a client and let's say, I have a house and I want you to restore it, then I'm telling you what I want. Whereas if it's your own location or your own project,
Yeah.
then you can do what you want. And that must be a bit of a thing for you, for freedom. But after 30 years of working for clients
Yeah.
and in a way having to sort of advise them, but they have the last say, don't they?
Plus people, they never listen to you anyway.
Yeah.
I have friends who are basically architects and they do this stuff professionally for other people. And the client always wants something that will not look right with the architect, and they'll do their best to try and do what the client wants, but it's never going to look right.
Yeah.
Because they can't give themselves up completely, and say to the architect, okay, do exactly what you want. They got to have that little bit of power, just holding back. I mean, I bought a few places. So one day I go to one, second day I go to another, third day I go to another. So spend 1 hour here, 1 hour there.
Yeah.
Coffee break in between. Go and have something to eat.
Why not?
Again.
Why not? It's good. It's good to have that
That's
type
when I
of
get
life.
bored, I just get on a plane and go somewhere else.
I mean, you had a very busy life, photography, and especially in a country like Turkey and in a town like Istanbul with millions of people. Being here in Cyprus now is probably like, taking a deep breath and relaxing. And
the biggest problem here is actually getting something done with the places like the electricity board or the municipality or whatever, all these
official places.
Yeah, oh my God, something
slowly.
It become very professional at that. Actually, you can get things done in hours, in a day. Here, still takes a month.
Yeah.
This is what drives me crazy. I mean, those things should be done automatically. You should just go once, take your number, have it done. Let those people do their job so you can do your job. But you're spending days and days just running around with the same thing. Yeah. It drives you crazy.
It drives you crazy, but you have made North Cyprus your base at the moment.
Well, my family's here. That is the main reason why I'm here.
Yeah.
I mean, even though I'm not married, but I have my own family, obviously, my brothers and sisters and my mom and everything, they're all here.
Yeah.
And I love spending time with them, and it's very valuable for me that we're all together like this.
Yeah, it's good to be a close-knit family.
Yeah, we've always been very close, and this is the main reason why I'm here. So, I mean, obviously having a restaurant helps us put everything together and keep together, and everyone just helps out. And so it's good fun in that sense. I mean, if they weren't here, I probably would be in some other country anyway.
But you are here and you have invested in a few properties. And so do we have anything in the pipeline, or are you just having fun, slowly doing things?
I'm not in a hurry.
You're
I'm
not
in competition with anybody. I have a few things in my head. I mean, I do love architecture. I wanted to be an architect when I was small, but I didn't know how to go into it, basically. You're talking about the 70s, And so now I'm actually doing things that I wanted to do, and I do have a couple of big projects that I actually want to draw the whole thing up myself. So I'm thinking of becoming an architect student to become an architect.
Right.
So
why not?
It's never too late.
It's never too late to do.
Yeah, because I have a special project in Mausa that I want to do. I got a real nice special place. So I want to put that together. That should be my baby.
Excellent. Why not? Well, the good thing about you, Hasan, is the thing that I like most is that you're so positive and so you enjoy life, and you don't like being constricted to a routine 9-to-5 job.
Yeah.
So this sort of lifestyle here, maybe, in a way, is good for you. Oh,
well,
just get on with.
I'm a workaholic.
Yeah.
I mean, I get up every day 6:30, 7 latest, and I'm up doing things. By the time it's 7:30, 8 o'clock, I'm either on the building side or I'm somewhere else. I've got to do things.
Yeah.
And I've always been like this. So, I mean, obviously, Cyprus is very, very laid back, too laid back for me. And when things don't get done, I get frustrated, it gets on my nerves. And you can't find anybody to do any work either. So this is why I've adopted to doing everything myself, because it's actually faster. And I can get it, because I'm a perfectionist, I want it in a certain way, I'll do it better myself.
Yeah.
And, but it frustrates me when you have to wait for things to be done, So I don't believe that I belong here in that sense, because I'm not a very laid-back guy to sit around. I do love my coffee.
Yeah.
I do give myself breaks, but I got to get things done.
Yeah.
I'm not one for just I'll do it tomorrow. No. It's got to be done.
So you do it yourself and get the best job done properly in the time that you want it done.
Yeah.
I looked online and your website is still up. The HasanHüseyin.com website is
I
still
haven't looked at
there.
it for ages, actually. I'm being honest with you.
I looked at it. I just wanted to make sure that I got everything right, and I wanted to see that remind myself of your old photographs, and it's still there. Although, as you said, you're not really actively doing photography anymore, but people can still contact you. But how can we find you? I mean, if anyone out there wants to speak with you about any projects or any jobs, what's the best way to find you, or to ask you some more?
Come to the old town,
Yeah.
ask around for Hasan Hüseyin and they'll point you out.
Yeah, they'll point to where you will be.
But just if you want to discuss something nice, and
Just being in the old town and being in that old architecture with the old buildings.
anybody for coffee, good coffee, I'm up for it.
Yeah. So a coffee with Hasan Hüseyin is a great hour spent with a very.
I'll share my knowledge with anyone, whatever I know.
Yeah.
That's all free.
And you are sharing your knowledge with some students as well at university. So you are out there, but you're busy, you're doing lots of things, but you're happy at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I still got to do a lot more traveling and see a lot more places. But like I said, I mean, if I can do it, I do it. If I can't do it, not going to worry about it too much.
Don't worry, that's the main thing in life. But thank you very much once again for coming in today, Hasan.
Thank you very, very much.
And give my regards back to the whole family, especially everyone at Sabor Restaurant.
It's my brother's birthday today, so we're going to have a little tea party for him today.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, have a great time. And hopefully see you again soon. Maybe you'll come back one day with an announcement of a new project. Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah, like I said, when I get that project going, maybe we'll go and
remember me here at BRT.
I will do.
And I'll be there to interview again. But thank you very much once again.
Thank you very, very much.
And hopefully see you again soon.
Lovely to be here.
Thanks a lot. And with that, we've come to the end of a couple of conversation with Hasan Hüseyin, a great photographer, a great entrepreneur, a great man here in the Tehran Sea. And hopefully we'll keep him busy enough to stay here on the island and get his work done. But thank you for watching. And until next week, have a great week here in the Tehran Sea. Bye-bye.